This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life.
Paul Neeson.
Hi everybody, I'm Paul Neeson, and I was sick at a young age and poisoned by doctors who tried to commit murder on me, but I escaped that, and raw food was my first introduction to the connection between health and diet and health and lifestyle, and I continued to learn from there, and I went on to write some books that I have downstairs, and I interviewed a lot of people who were teaching the raw food diet and stuff, and basically I want people to avoid being sick, and I want people to not get sick and to get cured if they're already sick. And the best way I found that is not what we add, it's what we eliminate. Eliminate what causes the problem. And the number one thing causing the problem with people getting sick is the doctors. So we eliminate the doctors who are telling people there's no connection between their diet and what they're eating, and they get better. We were designed to eat a certain food, a certain way, at a certain time, and our bodies do great with that. And you have to work very hard to get yourself sick, and that's what people do on a regular basis, because it says in the Bible, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And that's one of the things. But many of us have knowledge about what we should be eating, but the real problem is we still don't do it once we know, because we know an apple is better than apple pie and a carrot is better than a carrot cake, but we still choose the apple pie and the carrot cake. So then why are we not making the choices? And the thing is, we desire and have more fun following the traditions of man than the design of our Creator, and He never wanted us to suffer from disease the way we suffer. So I just help people to understand not just what to eat, but also why we're not doing it when we know. And that's what I do, and I'm excited to be here, and thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. So needless to say, this is going to be an exciting, informative adventure. And I think we all agree that we're all energy. Everything is light, sound, vibration. What we put in our body has to raise that light, sound, vibration. So who's going to raise the first question?
I think a big part of it is a lack of faith, because we are taught in today's society to manifest whatever we desire and it can come true. And if that actually was working, we wouldn't be in this situation to begin with, because there are a lot of people trying to manifest avoiding all these issues we're talking about. Well, God tells us that don't worry about the clothes we wear or the food we eat. Put faith in Him and He'll direct our paths. And if we just have a little faith of the size of a mustard seed, we can be successful. And I think it's a big lack of faith that people realize that when the doctors are telling them these things, then they have to take the chemo or they're going to die. People trust the doctors more than they do God. They have a lack of faith. They want to have the faith, but I'll be the first one to tell you, when a doctor's telling you you only have a couple of weeks to live, it's very hard to say, well, I'm going to trust God in this one and listen to you, because doctors are trained to deal with people's psychology and so on.
And it deals with fear.
It deals with fear as well. And we need to have faith and understand He doesn't want us to suffer, but we can't just say, well, we're going to pray to Him and have faith. We also have to follow the way He told us to live. And He showed us what foods to eat and how to live and what to do and what not to do. So if we have faith and we follow the path that He's laid out before us of how to live a healthy lifestyle, according to Him, not according to man-made traditions and people that are doing things that are just getting people sick, it's amazing how people get better, and then the faith is there because they see it. But it's already happening. So we need more faith, and we need to be obedient to the guidelines and instructions He's given us, and food is a great example. He shows us the food and what it's good for. And you look at a walnut, we know a walnut's good for the brain. The oils in the walnuts are good for the brain. A walnut looks like a brain. He shows us celery. The minerals in celery are good for the bones. Celery is the shape of bones. Well, people today like Twinkies a lot more than they do walnuts and celery. And the only thing Twinkie looks like is a coffin. So we see He's given us what we need. We got to go on faith and follow His guidelines, and not, what everyone else
and
is
doing. And it's a pink coffin. Dr. Howard.
No, I just, and back to the question.
Main source of protein and the main source of fiber. Paul?
I eat a raw vegan diet currently, and I've been doing so for a long time, but I'm experimenting with eating other ways. And I get my protein and my fiber from raw fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. And there's not one main source. I eat a good balance of fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. And I don't run into any issues, but if I did, then I deal with it. But I don't worry so much about the issue I'm going to run into because somebody said I'm doing something wrong and then somebody else said that. Just eat the food that we were designed and created to eat, and you'll be okay. And if you run into a problem, you figure out what you did wrong. But if you stress out about what you're eating, making sure you get, there's nothing wrong with making sure you're getting what you need. But too many people are stressing out. We're supposed to be having fun. Everyone smile, please. We're supposed to be having fun. And this is, again, you have to work to get sick. Me personally, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. Is there one that I eat more than the other? Well, it depends on the season and so on and what's available, but I try to find the highest quality of what I do when I do it. And it works pretty well because that's how I was created to eat.
And he's 95.
Yes. This is how great a raw food diet works. Last week I was clean shaven. That's how great it works.
Paul?
It feels, it's a little funny, and it feels good that everyone here would say the things that they're saying because we're hearing what we want to hear. Many times when we come to a raw food or a vegetarian event, but from my experience, it's not, from a nutritional standpoint, meat is not an unhealthy food. I know a lot of people that consume meat that are healthy, and I know a lot of people that consume meat that are sick. I know a lot of vegetarians that are healthy and a lot of vegetarians that are sick. There are so many other things to look at other than just what we're eating, for one thing. When the blood type diet, when people stress about, am I doing the right thing or is this, that we have to take into consideration. But when we look at the idea of why meat eaters or vegetarians get sick, we have to understand that man takes what our Creator gave us and destroys it. He's done that with the food, the soil that grows in the food, or the food that grows in the soil, and the meat as well. Other countries do not have the same connection of disease to meat products the way the United States and Europe and other civilized countries do, because something called A1 beta-casein, which is in the meat today, in 99% of the cattle in the United States. I know my friend Jordan Rubin, who wrote a book which supports meat eating, which I personally don't do, but he's been successful at doing it. If meat or cooked food was as bad as some people say it was, none of us would be here because we spent the majority of our lives eating that way until we changed. So we got to look at what man has done to the food and look at the originality of the food, and we all have to find out, number one, what works best for our own bodies, and not based on some double-blind study, but based on what we've experienced, and number two, what do we want to do? And keep it at that and not get stressed out. And me, I want to be on a raw vegan diet, and I'm finding out a way to make it work for me. And if that's what you want to do, that's great. But there could definitely be a conference here next week of meat eaters talking about how they know vegetarians that are sick and they're not getting the nutrients they need from vegetarian food. And no, find out what works for you best and your own individual self, not based on studies, and do what you want to do. Don't be convinced that something else is going to work for you. Yes, I know people that are very sick from eating meat, and I know people that believe they should never touch meat. But I know the other way around also. And from my experience, I know a man who's 109 years old in Arizona, who I've had on my video show on my website. And do you know him, Fernando? And he eats fish 3 times a week. I mean, and he's not just 108. He doesn't look like 108. He looks like he's younger than that, and he's healthy. So we can't just go along saying if we don't like to eat fish, that fish is evil or it's bad or we can't survive on it or something. For me, I choose not to do it. I choose to eat my raw food and I feel I'm doing fine. But if I'm doing what I'm doing and I'm not doing fine, I can't keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. I have to change what I'm doing. So if you desire to be on a vegan diet and it's working for you, great. If it's not working for you, that doesn't mean you need meat. That means you got to find out a way to make the vegan diet work for you. And the fact that at least one person prior to you has been successful means it's possible. Now, if you decide to eat meat products and it's not working for you, and if you want to stay on a meat-based diet, we'll find a way to make it work for you. But we can't just say that person should eat meat and that person shouldn't. We have to look at on an individual basis what we all want to do for ourselves.
That's right.
We could all choose to believe what we want. I choose for myself to be a vegan, but as being a vegan, when I read the Word of God does say that it is okay if you choose to consume animals for you to do so. That's what it says in the Word of God. So you make your choice, and we can all make a choice.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.